the occipital bone, bringing everything down to a nice strong line right here on the neck. Sometimes I'll even go through and use my fingers to lightly push down my shape to get a little bit stronger linear form in my haircut. This just helps me ensure that I have a nice consistent fall, because sometimes you see how that texture lifts up, it can lie to you. So before I try and adjust it, I just want to make sure that everything lives in the same point. So bringing everything down, assessing my shape, that's going to be my baseline. I'm going to bring one more section down over my line, connect it through, and then we're going to start talking about the graduation and how we're going to utilize a more classic approach to building up weight in the haircut. Now, as we know, graduation is a buildup of weight, right? We're taking hair and we're building up foundation, we're building up structure, and we're making shapes bevel a bit more. Whether you do it down low, external graduation, or up high, internal graduation, all depends on your section angle and how much we lift the hair.
Come on in.
So keeping everything nice and loose, I'm going to go ahead and just gently tap the texture to help me get a nice strong clean line on the bottom, holding my hair with the comb to just lightly brace it,
This is already
and then taking my line
low,
through.
so we're just doing kind of quick.
Tap out that corner right there. I'm going to elevate it very slightly with my comb. Not a lot, but just enough to make sure I can see my cutting line. And that's going to help me keep a nice, strong shape. Any of those little guys that want to hang out, I'll catch in my last pass. So we're starting to see the strength of my line. Bob is a staple of our industry. The bob will never go away. It's what keeps our lights on. Bob is your friend. Seriously, Bob keeps the lights on. And what's beautiful about Bob is that there's a bob for everybody. Every woman out there can wear some sort of a bob if you just find the right place and technique to complement it, whether you layer it through, whether you create graduation, or whether you make it just nice and strong one length. But it's the suitability that really creates the impact of the bob. It's finding out where it's going to be best on this person because of hairline, hair density, bone structure, head shape, suitability. Yeah, really though. I mean, you can lose a neck inside of the wrong bob. And so the bob to me is something that I love doing, and it never goes away. It's something that I'll continue to do throughout my entire career. And really, it incorporates a little bit of everything we do as craftsmen inside of the haircut. You know, creating strong linear form, utilizing the right amount of moisture, utilizing the right amount of tension. Everybody's hair is different and requires a little bit of different things. Notice I use the comb a lot to brace. Notice I do a lot of tapping to help remove tension from my section, so that way I get nice, strong, natural fall. Notice that I'm cutting from the inside out, encouraging the weight of the haircut to push outside, to incorporate a nice, even lay of the fabric.
Really helps. Or you can always, I did not spray it, the bumpy side towards the scalp.
Now that we've created our foundation,
That little sticky.
you can loosely kind of
Then you just kind of come and
let the texture breathe a
I
little
did not
bit,
color her hair. Check.
and then maybe just come in and refine just a little loose edge to give me that strength that I'm looking for. Okay, there's my line. So now, here's the part where I see a lot of people fumble. This is where we drop the ball. Elevation control. Where do we put our graduation in? See, this is a line bob with graduation on top of it, not a graduated bob. The differences between the two is that in a graduated bob, we would have just started right on in with our finger angle, continued, brought everything back if we wanted to have triangle fall. But in a bob with graduation, we have to preserve our perimeter. If I go in and start cutting my graduation too soon, I lose the strength of that line and it's no longer a bob with graduation. So ensuring that I brought down enough hair to create a strong guideline, a strong perimeter that's going to act as a guide for me is imperative. These first two sections from here to here and here to here will set you up to fail or win, depending on how you treat them. Okay? So now that we've gone in and set up our strong guide, I'm going to start off by first taking a section right about at the occipital bone there, diagonal, horizontal. Diagonal, horizontal. I want it to be a heavier shape. So really observing how much elevation I have in my fingers to how much strength in my perimeter I have. I need to keep that line full. The moment I start to lose the strength of that line, my line bob is gone. So starting off, I'm going to take another section a little lower to see how much weight I have in there. And you know what? I feel like right in there, I've lost a bit of it. I don't have as much strength there. You can see more separation. So I'm going to bring a little bit more of that down. And that's going to help give me a fuller shape on the bottom. I'm happy with where that's going to be. My first section here. Now my guide has been set in at this corner. That's what falls here. So that's going to tell me where I'm going to be cutting to inside of my classic graduation. I'm going to elevate the section. The lower I go, the heavier it will get. The higher I go until I get to a 90, then it's a layer. Right? So keeping that subtle angle, that subtle lift inside of the hair, but looking at my knuckle. See that corner right there? That's what I don't want to cut. Now my finger angle, my section angle need to mirror each other, and I'm not going to put too much tension in the hair because I don't want it to spring back too much. That little bit of weight right there, I'm going to cut off and let it fall. So now that graduation, you can already start to see that bevel that happens right at the bottom of my bob. I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Notice too that I don't have too much saturation. The hair's not super wet while I'm working through this technique. Moisture can lie to us. Moisture can tell a story that's not true. Okay? It can make us think that there's more weight involved inside of something when there's actually not.
So you're not necessarily going to connect the 2 points on the top of your third knuckle on the back.
On top of my third knuckle.
Right into where, yeah, that point, is that going to connect to the opposite side?
Absolutely. They have to marry each other.
Okay, so you're
there has to
gonna
be
come in.
cohesiveness. Very good question. So to ensure, I'll take a little bit of my previous section as I'm elevating up, dropping out my perimeter just slightly, and then finding that point. And now on my knuckle, I can see it right there. So now,
Nothing. Nothing in there right now.
see it right there?
With thick, coarse hair like that, it really holds.
And just to make sure, I can always travel that right across and look. It mirrors. So this is going to give us a consistency inside of how that bevel happens at the bottom of the haircut. This is like the Uma Thurman bob, right? From Pulp Fiction, that classic, that little bit of tuck under on the underneath. So taking another section as I move up the hair, I'm going to introduce a little bit more moisture to the palette. Not oversaturating the hair again now. Dropping everything down. Take half my previous section as my guide. Elevation down lower, because again, I want to keep this length longer as I move up, and I also want to keep that bevel low to the bottom of my haircut. So keeping everything nice and low. Looking for my guide, nice and clean. Cut. Moisture for control on the side here. I'm really giving me a nice strong corner. I'll turn your head to the side here. You can start to see that bevel that's happening. Now what's happening over here, I want that. I want it there now, because once I go through and finish up my line work on the outside after I put my graduation in, that'll all tie in just fine. But for now, it's ensuring that I don't create a hole there, which is very common. So I'm okay with keeping that for now. Pulling everything down, finding my guide, keeping it low. Ensuring that I connect on the opposite side. Look at that, it's right there. Okay? Making sure my elevation is nice and low. Ensuring that I don't cut out.
Big, sexy curls. Still got a little bit.
There's my angle right there as I continue on.
I'm just going to kind of readjust.
Keeping that low as I go in. Now notice I get lower as I move to this portion of the head shape. I need to keep more weight there. So as I go, maybe I was up here for the first part of my cut, my graduation, but as I move down, I'm going lower and lower to ensure a nice strong shape. And again, I'm not even going to try and connect in that little piece right now. I'm going to worry about that at the dry finish. So we can start to see that nice little shape happening underneath, carrying through to the front. I like to take enough hair while I'm working the front panels
Free rides with every cut.
Free rides. So this way, I have enough hair living over the ear to ensure my perimeter isn't lost as I work forward. Okay? So again, keeping that graduation nice and low. Cutting my guide.
So what's your guide or initial guide gonna be for the front length? Is that what you're establishing now?
Yes. You see this line here?
All right, now we cement.
That's gonna carry over and around. And is, I'm not even gonna comb all that out now. I wanna make sure the ear can live there so the hair doesn't shrink up over the ear and that I don't put any holes in this area. So now I'm just very loosely gonna check off those ends into my front guide.
So you could have connected her original length into this back if you wanted to.
Exactly. And I really did. I mean, I barely took that much off the front.
Right, so you just freehanded that front angle
Yeah, it's my insurance.
to incorporate her existing length in the front that she had.
Absolutely.
Yay! Chad, there's your woman.
Oh yeah, baby, look great. Katy Perry over there.
So that's the look we landed on. As you can see, I actually got 4 different looks out of her with all the same curl set, just with the coif iron. So those really give you good structure.
Love our coif.
Good job, Joey.
Okay.
And then I have my marketing business building class in a little while. So straight from here, you guys come on over to classroom C.
Right
I'm
next
gonna have to
door.
go run and get set up. So I will see everybody in a few minutes.
Is classroom C right next door?
Right next door.
Perfect. We don't even have
I'm
to go
gonna go
far.
set up now. It's a social media marketing business building, how to run your business using
Tension.
technology.
Let it go. Tap it out. Tap it out.
Thank you.
And loosely create my connection.
You know this.
I love Joey's social media class. I take it every time I'm at the show, at least once, sometimes twice. Just what it really helps me is just keeping me refreshed. There's always new technology and there's always new ways to incorporate it into your business. So, I mean, nowadays if you're not doing it, you're just doing yourself a disservice because you're not taking advantage of the opportunities to connect with more clients and to maximize the ones you have.
So you have plenty of time to finish up here. Don't try to leave early.
What time are you?
It's supposed to start at 6 or at 2:15, but I'm gonna linger a little bit
Yes.
for all you guys. Do you guys have a
10 more
chance to
minutes?
finish up here and see everybody's final look?
I want to see it. I don't want to miss it. I'm sitting in the
So
chair.
you're over-directing a little to
Absolutely.
the back, yeah.
It's online too.
Bringing it over to the
I
back.
got it yesterday, so
Bringing it over to the back
Yeah.
so I can create that little bit of fullness and that
go to
shape
BeautyHealthTravel channel
moving
and you'll see
forward.
it.
Yes.
Okay, so notice I'm not overworking the water into this cut. I'm really not. I'm just doing a very light mist to help give me a little bit of control in my structure. But for the most part, not a lot. Now, as I start to move from this portion forward, this is going to come slightly over directed back to incorporate that graduation behind the ear, and then everything else in the front is going to come right into that original low elevation line. And my last section will drop over. Nothing to
This
cut.
doesn't matter what side she parts it on, or do you start with the center part and then you